Hey everyone! So, some drama has been brewing in my life, and I really need your thoughts on it. I'm a 34-year-old woman who's been lurking on this subreddit for quite a while, looking for similar sister-in-law SIL stories. But mine seems pretty unique, and I'm not quite sure how to handle it. So, here's the deal. My CIL, who's 27, is planning a spring wedding and asked if she could have it at my place. Not to toot my own horn, but I own a sweet four-bedroom house with a pool and a big yard. She's marrying this Irish guy, so his whole family needs a place to crash. The plan is to have an outdoor wedding on the lawn and then have dinner inside. Sounds nice, right? Well, here's where it gets tricky. My husband and I have been together for 8 years, and while he's fantastic, his family dynamics are complicated. His family isn't well off. His dad worked manual labor jobs, and his mom did various gigs to make ends meet. His sister, my CL, still lives with them and doesn't work or contribute at all. She's a school dropout who idolizes influencers who claim you don't need a degree to succeed. Unlike her, my background is all about hard work and education. My parents made me and my brother earn scholarships or take out loans for college, which I used to hate, but now appreciate because it made us self-reliant. Anyway, back to the wedding. SIL wants to use my house because it's spacious and can accommodate the wedding. Plus, it's free. If she doesn't use my house, it's City Hall for her because she can't afford a venue. My in-laws are struggling financially, but still bankroll her lifestyle. My husband is wonderful and leaves the decision to me since it's my house. But I'm conflicted. Now here's the kicker. I found out the wedding is tomorrow, and guess what? I'm not invited. The cherry on top is that the wedding is at my house. Turns out, CIL told her rich fiancé that my house is theirs to impress him and his family. I knew she was lying, but didn't care until now because, honestly, I didn't think it would impact me. In summary, do you guys think I should let my CL use my house for her wedding, especially since I'm not even invited? I'm beyond angry right now and could really use some advice. Update 1. Just an update and a bit more venting. So, I did agree to let her use my house, even though I was super hesitant. Now, I regret it big time. My CL, who honestly just uses men for money, hit the jackpot with her fiancé, who's a wealthy banker from a well-off family. To impress him, she lied that my house was hers. I knew about this lie but didn't think much of it until now. She's shallow, a liar, and to add insult to injury, didn't even invite me to the wedding at my own house. What would you do in my shoes? When her fiancé popped the question, she came running to me, practically begging to use my house for the wedding. If that wasn't enough, my in-laws also came pleading, saying they'd need to take out a loan to fund her wedding if I didn't say yes. I asked why she and her fiancé couldn't finance it themselves. My in-laws insisted that traditionally, the bride's family pays, especially in Irish culture. I have no clue if that's true, so don't hold me to it. Apparently, she had already bragged to her fiancé and his family about the big house she could use for the wedding. Her premature boasting cracked me up. I was like, what if I don't let you use my house? Shouldn't you have asked first? My in-laws nodded, practically begging me to save their reputation. I told them I'd help, but they should have done a better job raising their daughter. I don't sugarcoat things, and maybe that's why they think I'm arrogant. But I say these things for their own good. They kept showing up at my house until I agreed. I figured, it's only 2 days, let's just get it over with. And no, she never offered to pay rent. This whole debacle started 3 months ago when I made the original post. Fast forward to 2 days ago, my sister-in-law, SIL, showed up with my in-laws and 2 other guys. I was at work, but I saw it on the security camera. I called her, and she said the guys were wedding planners there for a site visit. I asked her to be careful with my stuff, and she assured me she would. After paying off my mortgage last year, I got rid of the renters who were living in the 2 rooms upstairs. I took time off work to set up those bedrooms and hired a cleaner because the house is too big to clean by myself. Today, Sil showed up at 6 a.m. while we were still sleeping. She was on her way to her bachelorette party in the next town and wanted to check if everything was set up. She was thrilled to see the bedrooms ready and a bigger dining table rented for tonight's dinner. Then she said, "Okay, Those rooms are for my in-laws. Mom and Dad get your bedroom, and I'll take the other room with the walk-in closet. Woo! I can't wait to show off this house. I was confused and asked, if your parents take our bedroom, where do we go? She casually replied, I don't know, maybe go to your parents' house or check into a hotel. You both make good money, you can afford it. I was like, but why should we move out of our own house? She said, to them, it's my parents' house, and it would look weird for you two to be living here with them. I was stunned. So you're gonna make it seem like your parents live here and you're the princess of the house? She nodded. Pretty much. I was already annoyed. So, in your little fantasy, where do we fit in if your in-laws ask? She shrugged. Oh, they won't. How would they know? You guys won't be here, right? I pressed on. What about our stuff, our photos? She brushed it off. I'll say it's mine. We just need to take down the pictures in the hallway. I sighed. Even if we left to keep up your charade, we'll still see them at the wedding. What if they ask then? Her answer blew my mind. Oh, you're not attending the wedding or the family dinner. I was like, what the hell? She claimed, I never invited you. Did Mom or Dad send you an invite? Feeling stupid, I yelled for my husband, who was blissfully sleeping. When he finally came out, I told him, did you know we weren't invited to the wedding? Still half asleep, he was like, whose wedding? Oh, her wedding. Why aren't we invited? I explained. She said she never sent us an invite. He tried to process what was happening. After a few minutes, he was as shocked as I was. How can we not be invited to a wedding hosted at our house? Sai El then said, if it bothers you so much, you can attend, and just say your wife is unwell. I asked her what her original excuse was for our absence. Laughing, she had the audacity to say, I told them my parents cut you off because you're too toxic. I was like, wow, seriously, and stormed off to my room. It felt pointless to talk to her anymore. My husband followed and reassured me that it was still my call whether to withdraw my consent. I said no, I was too mad to think straight. I needed to cool down. Updating this here has helped me feel a bit lighter, but I'm not bowing down to her demands. I don't know what to do yet, but I'm definitely not leaving my house to participate in her web of lies. Whatever happens next, I'm standing my ground. Hey everyone! Just wanted to give you an update on everything, and thank you all for engaging in my posts. You were spot on. The pampered princess really does live in her own little world. Before diving into that drama, let me clear up some common questions from the comments. First, how can my sister-in-law, Sal, access my house when I'm not around? After agreeing to let her use the house for the wedding, I gave her a spare key. The front porch, living room, garden, and pool area all have cameras, so I felt okay with it. Now, how did Sal's fiancé buy her lies that the house was hers? Didn't he ever visit? Honestly, I'm not sure how she pulled that off. They've been dating for less than a year. 2 weeks before the wedding, she brought him over to give him a house tour while I was away for work. After I posted the update, I discussed my thoughts with my husband. He agreed it was my decision, but he was worried that if I backed out, his sister's wedding would be called off, and his parents' reputation would be ruined. I suggested we talk to his parents. So, we drove over and told them about Ciel's plan to exclude us from the wedding. Apparently, they knew and were okay with it. My husband lost it and said, you guys knew she was cutting us off from her wedding, and you were okay with it? My Mael meekly responded, we thought you guys were okay with it too. None of you asked why she hadn't sent an invite. At this point, we were in shock, questioning if we were wrong to assume we were invited just because it was at our house. My husband screamed, do you guys realize there would be no wedding if we back out? What if we tell her in-laws the truth? Mill panicked and begged us not to do that. Phil gently asked if we'd attend if CL sent an invite now. I was too angry to respond. Fael urged Mill to call CL and ask her to invite us right away and apologize. Reluctantly, she did. Sil answered, annoyed, and went off about how she wouldn't invite us because I always steal the spotlight. When Sil hung up, I stormed out, calling her a dummy. My husband got up to leave too, but his parents begged him to calm me down. Meanwhile, SIL texted me to remove our portraits from the hallway and move out before her fiancé arrived the next morning. She even instructed me to drop her parents off first. Sure, Your Highness, I thought sarcastically. By the time we got home, it was late afternoon. I called a mechanic to change the house locks. Later, my husband told FIL we weren't allowing the wedding at our place anymore, so they needed to find another venue. Fael tried to call CL, but she was busy at her bachelorette party. Panicking, Phil called back, asking what to do. My husband suggested canceling the invites and finding a new venue. The next morning, at 6 a.m., the wedding designer arrived to start preparations. I told him there was no wedding here, and he looked puzzled. An hour later, Sil's fiancé knocked, asking if she was home. I explained that this was my house and she didn't live here. He looked stunned. By 9 a.m., CL came banging at my door. I didn't answer. She called my husband, who told her the house wasn't available for the wedding anymore. She flipped out, banging on the door, demanding we open it. I yelled out the window that if she didn't stop, she might end up in prison on her wedding day. She cursed us out, and... well, that's the latest. So, she called us names for ruining her life and stormed off after the neighbors threatened to call the cops on her. She blocked my number, but went crazy sending filthy voicemails to my husband, calling him all sorts of names for not sticking up for his sister. I asked him if he was upset, and he said he was, but honestly, she had it coming. She can't just expect everything to be handed to her. She was so ungrateful and always took us for granted. She even told her fiancé it was her house and planned the entire wedding here without even asking me. And then she had the nerve to cut us off from the wedding. What did she expect? We'd just roll over and take it? Now my in-laws are mad at me, saying I've tarnished their reputation. It really makes me question their values, especially since they were okay with her excluding us from a wedding that was supposed to take place on our property. Anyway, the wedding was called off that day. My sister-in-law and the parents-in-law tried to smooth things over and asked her fiancé to hold off for a week while they found a new venue. But I heard he called out her nonsense right in front of everyone and decided to cancel the wedding altogether, saying he needed to rethink their whole relationship. Who knows what'll happen now? I'm just glad to be out of that mess. I've got my own life to live and a career to focus on. Good luck to her and her lies.